see, what time is it? Welcome, everyone. It's with another new Stampin' Up! Year in a new catalog. So, okay, so this is the card. And of course, I had to do the envelope because you're going to have a scrap. Now, I'm using the 6x6 paper. This one was from the, this one was from the Autumn, a Splendid Autumn 6x6 pack that came out this fall. So there's quite a few designs in here. So that's where this one came from. Isn't that gorgeous? But it's very tedious. You just got to make sure you don't leave a whole lot of gaps in between your spacing. And I'll show you that. But isn't that pretty? So you want to pick the design. So when you cut, and I'll give you the measurements here shortly when we get started, but you want to get your design centered of how you want it, and then you're going to cut accordingly. And then you're going to have enough left over if you're using a 6x6 piece that you'll be able to decorate your envelope, okay? And then I just stamped a few little grassy things on the inside. I am using our Beach Days photopolymer stamp set, and this is, I'm using the sentiments of happy birthday and enjoy your day, and then this piece of grass right here. And there's 14 stamps in this, and there are coordinating dies. So if this is something that you're interested in, it is, you can just go online to my online store, and the link is below the video, and you'll be able to just type in Beach Day. And if you're not hooked into my online store, then make sure you just search me as your demonstrator, or use the link that I have in the Facebook page as well. So I'm using the sentiments from the stamp set. But isn't that cute? Now here's another one. Now this one I chose from the, let's see, the Thoughtful Journey, I think is the name of it. Hang on, let me get it down. Yeah, Thoughtful Journey paper. Now this one, I should have gone with this one because, you know, you want to make sure you get your design. But I chose one that I thought I would get a little bit of a design out of it. I didn't get as much as I thought, but I still like it. I think it's still pretty. So that's from Thoughtful Journey, but we're going to do the next one we make. The one that we're going to make is going to be from the Splendid Autumn. But again, I had a piece left over, so I just flipped it over and used that to do my envelope. So that way you're not wasting much of your designer series paper. I think you're going to have a very small piece, and it's probably going to look, hang on a second and I'll show you. Now I've got paper. It's falling out of my, out of my holder. Hang on a minute, because I don't want these guys falling out, and then I'll get all discombobulated. Yeah, this is the only piece that I have left over from that piece right there. So if you use up the piece, the longer piece, when you cut it off, then that will cover your envelope. And then this is the last piece that I have, and I'm just going to make cards using my scraps. So that's going to be one of the things I'll do. So I've got a little trash can, you know, those small trash cans you get at the dollar store. I've got that thing full of scraps, and I'm going to be making some cards with that. So we never want to throw away the bigger size scraps. All right, so let's get started, and let me give you our dimensions. I'll give that to you as we go. Now, again, I'm using the Splendid Autumn 6x6 designer paper, and I decided to choose this image here, okay? And I tried to look at what colors. This is Cage. No, it's not. I'm sorry. It is, not Daffodil Delight. It is Crushed Curry. And I looked at some of the greens, but I really thought that the Crushed Curry cardstock kind of made those flowers pop. So we're going to do that, all right? So the first thing that we need to do is we need to cut our cardstock, and that's going to be cut at 4 1/4 by 11. So we're going to make this with like a tent fold, all right? So we're going to cut this at 4 1/4 by 11, and then of course we're going to turn it and score at 5 1/2, which is, you know, your typical card, like for this 4 1/4 size. Okay, so we've got that. And then we also want to cut a coordinating piece that we're going to lay our paper on once we get it all cut up. And that is going to be a size of, hang on a minute, because I got my notes right here. Hang on. Woo doo 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 doo. We're going to do that. Hang on. We are going to cut a piece that's 3 3/4 by 4. So I'm going to cut this at 3 3/4. We're going to cut 3 3/4. I'm going to set this off to the side. That gives me some scrap paper to use later. And then this was cut at 4 1/4, right? So I'm going to cut this. I'm going to cut this at 4 inches. So there is our 3 3/4. And this is at, I'm going to move it down just a 1/16 of an inch because the card that I did earlier, I ran out of space, and it's all in how you space it. So I'm just going to make, instead of making it 4, I'm cutting this at 4 and a 1/16, and that will give us, should give us enough room to do what we need to do. Okay, so it's 3 3/4 by 4. I added just a tad, and once you do this, you'll get the hang of it. Okay, so we're going to put that right there. Oh, you know what? I'm such a dodo head. We're not using the card base of crushed curry. I am so sorry. That's my fault. We're using basic, thick basic white. So I've already got that. Sorry. We're going to use our crushed curry as the base for our picture. And we're using thick basic white that's cut at 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2. And then you're also going to pull in a piece that is cut you can use basic white or you can do the thick basic white. And that is going to be, because we're going to add this to the front of our basic white card. And that's cut at, let me see, I can't find it in my notes, but I'm trying to read. And hang on a minute, I'm finding it. Oh, it's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. We just want enough that when we put it on the basic white base, our thick basic white, it's just going to have a little bit of an overlay. Okay, I hope that makes sense. This is going to be what we're going to attach our picture to once we do all our cutting. All right, so the next thing, we're going to take our 6 by 6 piece of pattern paper. All right, now we want to cut this at, it's going to be 3 1/2 going this way, okay, because that's how we're going to get it to fit on our piece of crushed curry. And then we're going to turn it and cut it at 3 5/8, okay? So I've got to determine how much of this flour I want on my card, okay? Now I'm thinking, if we're going to do, I'm going to flip it upside down because I want most of this to show. So I'm going to turn it upside down, and I'm going to bring this over to 3 1/2. So if I do 3 1/2 right here, then that's going to cut, we'll have this piece left over, but it's going to give me all of this, okay? Now, if you want to have more, then we can always move this to 4 inches and cut, and then bring this back and trim off the difference to make up our size. But I'm going to leave it, and I'm going to cut this at 3 1/2. Now I could cut this at 3 3/4 and cut a half off, but I'm going to move this to 3 1/2 because I want this to be my design that we're going to cut into. Okay, so this is 3 1/2, so I'm going to cut that down. This is the piece that you're going to keep, and we're going to decorate the outside of our envelope. Now we're going to turn this, because this is the top of my card, right? So I'm going to cut off. We want this at 3 5/8, so that's 3 1/2, and come over 2 marks. And that's 5/8. So we're going to cut it just like that. Okay, so we're going to cut that off, and this will be the only scrap you have left over if you cut your, use your piece for the envelope. Okay, now you're going to cut this in in a 1/4 inch. A 1/4 inch. Make sure I've got my cutting blade. You're going to cut this at a 1/4 inch strips, and when you do that, you should get 14. Okay. So I'm going to cut a 1/4 inch, will be this line right here. So I'm just going to start cutting a 1/4 inch, and you want to keep them in order on your desk. So as you cut, just put them in order so you don't, then you'll know exactly how, you'll know exactly how your design is supposed to look. All right. So we're going to do a 1/4 inch for each one. So I'm going to set that off to the side, and I'm putting this down. That's going to be my bottom, and I'm just going to keep cutting my 1/4 inches. All right. Whoopsie, hang on. So you want to make sure you get in here, hold your paper down. And this is just the tedious part, right? So I'm just going to cut each 1/4 inch, and I'm just adding them in front of each other. It's off camera so that you'll see when we get started how we're going to put this together. All right, so we're just going to keep cutting this picture by 1/4 inch. And you just got to take your time. You don't want to rush through it because we want to make sure we get them all the same length. The first one I did too big of spacing, and so I didn't have enough room. So you want to have minimal space when you glue these down. You just want to have just like a hair of your cardstock underneath showing. And then that's how we're going, whoops, see the smaller pieces we get, we want to make sure we hold it down in place. So we're going to cut that. Now, so far, are y'all counting? So far we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so let me move these back a little bit so I can get them to stay in the order. All right, so that's 8. And then we've got to cut 4. We got to cut several more. So we've got a half, let's see, 1/4 inch right there. Let me get it straight. Make sure we get it in there straight. All right, so there's a 1/4. And this is a good way just to, if you have, and it doesn't, I mean, I think it looks really pretty when you have the design, because to me, it does look like a windows that open, or it's a blind, whoops, it's a blind. Good thing I had my fingers on that. Or it's a blind that's showing out, right? So we'll just keep cutting our 1/4 inches, and then I have to hold down on my paper really well so it doesn't jump around. All right, and we've got a 1/4 here. We should be down. All right, so hang on, let me hold on to this so it doesn't go anywhere. All right, so we have 2 pieces here. We'll put that right there. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I've got my 14 pieces. All right, now let me move stuff out of the way. All right, so I'm bringing in my crushed curry. Okay, let me get my paper here so it doesn't want to. I've got the tape that doesn't, it just kind of holds it, but it doesn't stick it down. Now my paper looks like it's crooked. Okay. All right. So we're going to start at the top. And what I recommend, we're going to do 1 at the top. All right. So we want to have a little bit, we're going to have our layering going on, right? So you just want to have a little bit of the cardstock showing through, not much at all. And then we're going to put 1 at the bottom. We're going to put 1 at the top and then 1 at the bottom. And then we're just going to work our way up or down, however you want to glue your stuff down. Okay. So I'm going to lay this here, and I've got them all cut in the order that they need to go. So I'm moving this up. Bear with me a second. I need to pull it back just a little bit so that I can see, because that's too much that's showing. And use your liquid glue, because you're definitely going to need it to shift your paper around. So as you can see, I've got a little bit too much to the left, so let me pull it over a little bit to make sure it's even. I think that looks good. Okay, now we're going to come in. I'm pulling the 1 at the bottom. So I've got them in order off camera. Whoops, I've got them in order off camera. If I don't mess this up. All right, y'all can see that. So I'm going to leave it just like that so that I can see too. All right, I'm going to put 1 at the bottom, and you can use your tweezers if you need to do that. All right, I'm putting 1 at the bottom because I want to make sure I've got these lined up and I don't have a lot of the, you see how much I'm leaving? It's like a 1/16 of an inch. And you can be, if you have to have it exact, you can measure your length this way. I'm just eyeballing it. That's all I'm going to do. All right, so now I've got those in there. So now I'm just going to start, you can start at the top or bottom, whichever works for you. I'm just going to start at the top and work my way down. But again, you see my gap? I want to get that really close because we don't want to have much more than that spacing. Give me 1 minute so I can look before it starts to, yeah, I think that's going to be good. Not much more than that. You don't want much more, okay? We want to make sure we have enough room to get all 14 of these little strips on here. So it's an easy card. It's a little time consuming because you got to glue each little piece down and make sure you don't leave too much of a gap. And I'm going to have to take this up just a second, so I've got to be able to see it. All right, I'm going to move, whoopsie. I'm going to move it back just a little bit. So you just want just barely enough that you can see. Okay. All right. So we're just going to keep on going. And I just wanted to show you this. So it's not a hard card, but I did want to show that you've got to be careful on the spacing, because if you get too much, then you're not going to have enough room to get everybody on your paper. All right, so just pull it down just enough so you can see. Whoops, see, I'm pushing it down. So you got to just be careful. You have to take your time, okay? That might be a little much, so we're going to push that up just a tad. Just a little. There we go. See how our flowers are starting to come together? So this would be this is a cute technique, and it's also nice. You can use up your 6x6 paper and not have any scraps, hardly any scraps left over. So again, I need to pull it up because I want to make sure I've got my spacing. I want to add, I'm just leaving just a hair of a space. All right. And doesn't it start to look like a blind? That's what I thought. Now, if y'all have a better name for this, let me know. Because I don't think Mary had a name for this. I don't think she called, I don't know, I don't think she called it anything. I'm not sure. I didn't see it on the tutorial. So, all right, so we're going to put that there. And I'm going to bring it up again because I want to make sure. Oops, did I not put glue here? I guess that would be helpful, wouldn't it? Just a little bit right there. All right, so I'm going to get him up there and get just a smidge of the crushed curry showing. All right. I think I'm going to come at the bottom. I'm going to add a couple towards the bottom now. So I'm picking from the bottom side. And I'm going to add a few down here. And that way I can keep everything going. And again, I'm moving this down a little bit lower. So see how much, let me pull this up. See how I'm barely putting much space in there. And then again, you want to make sure you've got lined up on the sides, okay? Now this will be the tricky part. You may have to take, if you're really anal about it, you could always draw a line, a pencil line down the side if that's important to you, to make sure that you're staying on track, okay? All right, so I'm going to put another one at the bottom. I'm just working my way up from top, bottom to top now. You can just keep going from the top down, but I just thought I'd start adding the bottom so that we get to the middle part, then we'll be able to get everything. And again, I'm just eyeballing my sides, so I know I need to push them over. And I think that's looking all right. See, I think up here, I've got a little bit. I'm hoping the spacing is going to be good. We'll see. We've got 5 more to put on here. And that's why I said it probably won't take that long. So I'm just going to lay this here again. Mark that down. Pull it in. Whoops. Whoop, 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 whoop. Get it in there. I just think this is a clever idea. What a great way to use up, even if you used up your scraps, you could just make a collage, it doesn't have to be the picture, but I like the idea of the picture looking like a blind. So, all right, so we're going to place that right there. And trying to get everything. Do I have that right? Let me make sure. Let me push this a little bit closer because we've got 3 more to go. So I think we've got plenty of space here, actually. 1, actually, I think we got a lot more space. 2, so we might go a little bit more in our spacing, but that's okay. That's all right. So it'll work. We might have a little extra spacing in the center, but that's okay. All right, so let's get this one. I just want to make sure, because the first one I did, what did I do with it? It's sitting somewhere. I ended up putting, whoops, now I'm getting the glue all over my fingers. I ended up putting the one piece on the inside that was kind of a little bit off, but it was all right. So I'm going to put that there. I'm going to bring it down just enough, but it's not enough to make it look like we're making it a little bit longer, but that's what we're going to do. And then I have this one. But isn't that cute how it's coming out? All right, so this is the tedious part right here. Just putting it together, making sure you've got your pictures going, and I'm going to add a little bit more space again because that's what you want to look at. You want to make sure that you're given enough space but you don't want to not leave enough so then you don't have any left over for your other piece. All right. And you can't add a piece because then it's not going to blend with your picture, right? All right, so this one we're going to put right here, and I think we'll be fine. I don't think there's that much of a gap that's going to make a big difference here. Just going to move everybody over. And you can see it's a little bit wider right here. I put these a lot tighter together, but that's okay. I think we'll be all right. It's still giving us the same effect. I'm going to move this one. Actually, I'm going to move this one up a little bit because he's still wanting to move. Whoopsie, look at that. All right, so let's get him there. I don't think we can move the other ones. Okay, that's not too bad. All right, so there's that part of the flower. I think I got it right. Yeah, we've got our flowers in there. And you can see this one, it's got that, and then this piece right here comes down. Isn't that pretty? So now again, right here, it's got a little bit more spacing. So you're going to see it's going to give the illusion, right? Whereas this one, it was a little bit closer. But that's okay. It's all right. When you send this card out, no one's going to know the difference, right? Okay. So now we're going to attach this to the basic white. That is 4, hang on a minute, 4 1/8 by, hang on, I'm just making sure. Let me get to my piece where it says 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So there is our 5 1/4 and our 5 3/8. Okay. So we're going to add this using our liquid glue. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to, we'll add this to the top of our card with dimensionals. All right, so we're going to flip this over, and we're going to place that right on here towards the top because we're going to wrap a piece of ribbon around the bottom, and we're going to put our sentiment there. And I'm just sliding this over to make sure I've got it. And again, you can use your grid paper if you need to, right? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is bring in a piece of, hang on a second, let me get a scrap piece of paper. We're going to make our own, because we don't have any crushed curry ribbon. So I am going to take our white and silver. Let me find it. I know it's here on my desk. Hang on. Let me see. Hold on. Oh, there he is. All right. So the white, and you could do the gold, but I'm doing the silver. So we're going to do our white with the silver, and we're going to color this with our Stampin' Blends. All right. So I'm just going to measure how much I need because we're just going to wrap it and just glue it to the back. So we're not going to go all the way around the card. We're going to leave it the way it is. So I'm just going to cut it right about there. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our Daffodil Delight because we don't have crushed curry, and I am going to take the ribbon and use the large tip of my Daffodil Delight, and we're going to color this ribbon so that we'll have some ribbon that's going to coordinate, and the Daffodil Delight Dark is going to look more like the crushed curry. All right, so this is something, if you don't have ribbon to coordinate and you have a white or a cream, then this is a way that you can design your ribbon to match your project. So there you go. All right. And it dries pretty instantly. And if you want it darker, you can just go over it a few more times. So there we go. Now we have ribbon that should match our project. Isn't that clever? All right, so I'm going to come in with my Stampin' Seal, and I am going to put some adhesive. My flower looks a little bit off. I'm wondering if this guy got twisted because I'm thinking that, but that would have gone right there. It looks like this should be over here, doesn't it? I wonder if I twisted it. No, because if I twisted it, these things would be going that way. So that must be cut like that. Anyways, it's okay. All right, so I'm going to add some adhesive down here at the bottom, my Stampin' Seal. All right, and then I'm going to lay this down, and I'm just going to tuck it around, and we're going to pop it on that adhesive. All right, and then I'm going to bring it over, and then this way we can adjust it. See, I've got it too high, so I can just adjust it down. And then I am going to put a glue dot right in the center. We're going to put our sentiment over this. So, but I want to put a glue dot there because I don't like it moving around. So I'm just going to take a glue dot with my paper snips, and I'm just going to pick that up. Hang on. Or you can use your fingers, whichever is easier. So I'm going to pop that off. Like, where is my glue dot? Hang on. Got to get my glue dot. There we go. And I'm just going to stick it right under the center. You're not going to see this anyways because this is where our sentiment's going to go, but we're going to at least have it kind of taut so it doesn't start wiggling back and forth. All right. Now, we have this paper over here that we're going to take a strip off because we want to have a sentiment on. We're going to stamp it on a piece of basic white, and then we're going to layer the two together. Let me get my, we'll determine how much we want our yellow to be once I cut my, once I do my sentiment. So I think I'm going to do, let's do happy birthday. Never have enough happy birthdays, right? So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to stamp that in crushed curry because I want everything, or we could do one of the other darker colors, but I'm going to keep it all the same. So again, I'm going to use the crushed curry, and we're going to, oh, that's, I'm going to have to cut this. I don't think I want that piece. Hang on. I don't want to get, I've got all these, excuse me, these scraps in here, and they're all weird cuts, and it really is hard when I go to try to cut it. Then I don't get it always. There we go. Here's one that was cut straight. Then I can work with, excuse me, I can work with that. Okay, so I'm going to, let me ink this up one more time. All right, so I'm just going to stamp that right about, let me stand up so I can see. I'm going to stamp it towards the bottom. Okay. All right, so we've got that stamped. And now I can go ahead and trim this up to what I need it to be. Give me a second. Let me move this out of the way. All right, so let me pull my paper trimmer in. And we're going to cut this down, and then we'll adjust it so we can determine what size we want for our basic white. So you just use whatever sentiments you have in your stash, and then you just cut them accordingly, okay? That's all you got to do. So what I'm doing may not work for what you want to do. So I'm just lining this up, just trying to gauge where I'm going to cut it to make my sentiment, and hopefully don't cut off any of the happy birthday part. Okay, so I think that looks good. All right, I think that's fine. All right, so now we've got a piece that is 3 inches by 3 inches by 3/4. So we're going to need 3/4. So we're going to need 1 inch cut off of our crushed curry. So I'm going to put that over here. And if it's too big, then we'll cut it down because I think 1 inch might be too big. And then that one was 3, so we probably want this to be 3 1/4. And again, we'll make a decision here in just a minute. All right, so let's see. I think we might want to trim that down just a tad. Yeah, I think to me that's a little too much. So this is, it's not quite, okay, yeah, it's not quite. This is, actually it's 5 3/8. So let's just make this 3/4. Let's bring it down to 3/4 and see if that works. So let me put my hands over here so we can cut it. All right, and I think that should work for our sentiment. Yeah, that's going to be perfect. So that's what we'll do. All right, so let's move that out of the way. And then we'll go ahead. Let me push this over there. All right, let's go ahead and glue this down. All right, and then we'll start getting everything attached. We're going to add dimensionals to the back of this as well as our blind. Now, this looks like it's a little too long, so I'm going to trim. I know I'm being a little particular here, but let's trim off just a tad. I think that's a little much right there. I'm just going to cut off a little smidge. A smidge in the world. Probably could go another smidge. Hang on a minute. He's stuck on my blade. Let's do one more little smidge. Let's try that. That probably wasn't, that didn't even count as a smidge. All right, here we go. There we go. That's better. Now that was me being a little particular, but that's okay. All right, so we're going to put some dimensionals. Where did I lay them? Here they are. All right, so we're going to put dimensionals on the back of our sentiment. So I'm going to place 3 here. Okie doke. And then we're going to put a bunch on here. Okay, so we're going to put 1 in each corner. We're going to go up this side. We're going to put 3. And then I'm going to add 2 towards the center. So we'll put 1 here, 1 there, and I'm going to kind of do like in between right there and right here. Okay. Now, let me go ahead and fold my cardstock. I've already got it cut and scored. So let me get my score going here. And then I'll take the pieces off the back of our dimensionals and get our bone folder. Okay, and we're going to do that. Got it nice and crisp crease. All right, there's that. Okay, so if you have your take your pick tool, which I have one somewhere, then I haven't figured out how to get these off. It's coming off pretty good. You know how you can kind of do them pretty faster? I think I can do them faster with my fingers. But if you have your take your pick tool, you can use that to get them off. I push my thumbnails down and they lift up. So then I can just come around and flip them off, take them off really quickly. And I know if I use the take your pick tool, I always go through and make sure I got all this stuff off. If I used it enough, I'd probably be able to do it, but I don't use it enough in that respect. But that's okay. All right, so we have that. So we're going to lay this right here, and we've got this one cut just enough for our card front, just to show a slight edge. And I've got to lift this up so I can see you guys. So give me just a second. I have to be able to see what I'm layering on here. Just enough to show. There we go. All right. Now, next thing, we're going to add our sentiment. So let's put that on here. And then we're going to add one more little touch. Give me 1 second. All right, and so by putting that glue dot there, it's holding my ribbon from flapping. And I'm going to place this right on the ribbon. Now, you can put your dimensionals on your ribbon if you choose, or on the back of the cardstock, because you can place them wherever you want them to go. So I'm going to place it right here. Actually, I should have brought it down just a little bit so we could see a gap here. Hang on 1 second. I can't do that now. All right, so let's put it, I'm going to put it right about, you see, I'm not going to push it down quite yet. Okay, that'll work. So let's push it down right like that. All right, so we have our ribbon, we have our card, and now we're going to take our butterflies and we're going to pop some butterflies on here. I'm going to put one down here in the happy birthday. I'm going to put that right in the center. And then I'm going to put some up here on the flower. And then they say to always put them in odd numbers, so we'll do 3 and 5s. I still think this thing looks like it's out of whack. Oh, you know what? I think I did turn it. See the green? That should be over here, and that guy goes over here. All right, so I screwed up on that one, but that's okay. No one's going to notice it. They're not going to pay attention. We're going to pretend that they don't see it. All right, so I have my 3. I'm not going to add any more. All right, so there is our card. Now, the last thing we have to do is, don't forget now, we have our envelope, and we have our piece of leftover paper. Let me grab it. And we're going to decorate our envelope. Now, since we do have a design, I think I'm going to go ahead and do it like this. I think that will look fine. Or yeah, let's do it this way. Okay, so I'm going to bring my Stamp and seal. I'm so used to the old way. And we're just going to make a strip right around the top and on the edge of each flap of the sides. And I'm going to place it right. I'm trying to not go past this line. I'm trying to see. There we go. It's kind of hard with the lighting in here, but that's right. All right, so we're going to place this. Yeah, I think that's going to look nice on the envelope. And those are pieces of little, whatever. It's fine. It's not going to be in the way. So we're going to see how it fits right in there. So we're going to line that little guy up. Put him down there. And we'll cut him up off. And then you've got a nice card that has been designed with an envelope that coordinates, and you've used up the majority of your 6x6 piece of paper. So you can always do this with your larger papers as well. Just cut down the pieces that you need. But I like the fact that the 6x6, you're using almost the entire piece up, with the exception of this little piece right here. And you can do whatever, whatever you want to do with that. All right, so there is that. Now the last thing I'm going to do is I just want to stamp those little grass things in the inside of my card, just so the inside of my card doesn't look so naked. So I'll pull in the, I'm going to pull in the crushed curry again. I could do the green, actually, since we have green in there. Let's do that. Let's do the green instead of using, so the greens are Garden Green, Mossy Meadow. I think we'll go with, let's see, we want Mossy or Garden Green. Let's see, I think it's going to be Mossy. Yeah, let's go with Mossy. And we'll stamp a couple of little grass pieces, and then we'll be done. All right, so there is Mossy Meadow, and we'll open this up, and let's just stamp a couple of these little guys. All right, so I'm going to put one down here in the corner, and maybe put one next to him, and then we'll put some over here. We'll do, or you can put them up, each corner if you wanted to do that. All right, so there we go. We put a little something on the inside so that doesn't look quite as naked. There you go. There is our, I don't even know, what do y'all want to call this? A blind, a window shade? Now it's really irking me that I have this piece here that I've put on backwards, but it's all right. We'll deal with it. I mean, if you don't pretend you don't notice what it's supposed to look like, no one's going to know the difference. But isn't that cute? All right, so there's that one. And for those that have come in late to join us, then here is the other ones that I did earlier, not just to show you how some of the different ones will look. Let me push this one up just a tad. And then this one didn't have much of a design on the paper, but I still thought it looked pretty. See how you've got that design? And this one is kind of just using, like, it looks to me more like sky, sun setting, and then water. So those are the 3 cards that I created and given you the directions for. I hope you've enjoyed this. All right, everybody, thank you so much for spending your time with me this Saturday afternoon. I greatly appreciate it. And again, don't forget about the free card kit. So if you place an online order through my store by tomorrow evening, for your minimum would be $35. I'll send you a kit to make 2 cards. I'll send you 2 different pieces, 2 photos that you can use. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. If you like this video, make sure that you like and share that for me. I greatly appreciate it. Share with your friends and family. And then I will be uploading this to YouTube. So if you have friends that aren't on Facebook, let them know it will be uploaded to YouTube probably within an hour. All right, everyone. Thanks again. Have a great weekend. Lots of football on today and tomorrow. And I will see. I will not. Am I going to be here? No, I'm not going to be here Tuesday because that's Christmas Eve. So I figured y'all probably be busy. But I may pop in one day in the afternoon next week. I'm not sure when. All right. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. And thanks again for watching. And I'll see you soon. Bye now.